This is Bredhurst Woods local wildlife site. It's on top of the North Downs in Kent. It's a site of about 200 hectares of ancient woodland surrounded by very species-rich chalk grassland.
Local wildlife sites are sites that have been selected because they're especially important for wildlife. They might have been chosen because they support very rare or threatened species, or because they contain examples of really important habitats.
This is one of the public rights of way that run through the wood. The wood has a very rich ground flora. It has 47 different types of ancient woodland indicators, and it's also home to the lady orchid, which is very rare but has a stronghold in Kent, and we also have 8 other species of orchids occurring in the wood too.
In Kent we have over 450 local wildlife sites. Together with the nationally and internationally designated sites, these help form a living landscape. They are the most important areas for wildlife from which it can spread out into the wider countryside. We have a number of living landscape areas such as the Medway Smile, which runs between Maidstone and the Medway towns.
Bredhurst Woods and the surrounding chalk grassland is part of the Medway Smile living landscape area.
We believe that it's vitally important to protect these sites, so we work with local planning authorities to make sure that they're protected from development, and we also work with the landowners to make sure that they're managed to support the best biodiversity that they can.
We help the owners of local wildlife sites by writing management plans, assisting with projects, applying for grants, and giving them advice and training on how to get the best out of their sites for wildlife.
We can contribute to a living landscape by working with local wildlife site landowners to bring their land into better land management for wildlife, to make it more species rich and more permeable for wildlife to move about through the countryside. We can do this through bringing woodlands into coppice management or entering grasslands into agri-environment schemes.
One of the reasons that ancient woodlands such as Bredhurst Woods are so good for the plants in particular is because they've been managed as coppice woodlands for probably hundreds of years. The coppice cycle at Bredhurst was neglected for quite a while, and Kent Wildlife Trust have helped restore the coppice cycle by helping the owners to get woodland grant schemes and helping them by writing management plans and assisting them to get the coppice cycle going again in the woods. And this was coppiced about 2 or 3 years ago, and you can see that there's been quite a bit of growth where the trees have started to come back again.
Wildlife Trust coordinates the local wildlife site system on behalf of the Kent and Medway Biodiversity Partnership, and this partnership includes all sorts of partners, including local authorities and landowners and representatives from the farming community.
Here we've helped the farmer get into the environmental stewardship, higher level stewardship scheme. This means that the grassland can be managed in a traditional way without adding fertilisers and allowing the chalk grassland flowers to flourish.
Wildlife Trust can't work everywhere with limited resources, so we often prioritise our work towards local wildlife sites to ensure we work on areas of importance for wildlife. Surveying the local wildlife sites repeatedly also helps us to improve our knowledge of how wildlife changes over time through the county.